Hey everybody, welcome to the Nimble Urban Survivor. Remember to buckle your seatbelts like so, and in the event of an emergency that you don't like the show, the exits are here, and the escape key. Hi everybody, welcome to the Nimble Urban Survivor. Hope you're having a good month, good day, good year, good whatever. That was like my Southern Dow, like airline stewardess voice. I think it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I developed that this morning while I was brushing my teeth. You're welcome, because today's topic comes in from someone named Gary. Gary says, Nick, flying, I hate to fly. I'm scared to death of flying right now because of COVID. And I totally get that. I'd be scared to death too to fly during COVID. If you didn't know, today's date is November 24th, 2020, and COVID is striking back. And it's gotten so bad that the governor here in California, we had outdoor dining. We were starting to make like slow progress. Now they're shutting down all of the outdoor dining. So you can't go to a restaurant now. You have to get pickup, takeout from these poor restaurants. It's such a shame because all this stuff is just going to go out of business. Everyone's going to go out of business. And then when they finally do open up the state of California after COVID, there's going to be like one Taco Bell opened, and that's all we're going to go to. Be like in that movie Demolition Man, where like in the future Taco Bell's the only restaurant that survives. I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I saw a huge line at the drive-through through Taco Bell, so that could be coming. But in relation to that, flying, how do we survive flying in an airplane? By the way, thank you, Wright brothers, for inventing the airplane. Because I know me personally, I like to get places fast. Like I hate driving. I hate road trips. I hate them with a passion. If I have to drive somewhere more than 40 minutes, I'm going to try and find an option to fly. Like, for example, Las Vegas from LA, it's only a couple of hours drive. It's the easiest drive. I'd rather fly, though. I would rather go to the airport, go through security, wait, get on the plane, fly, get off the plane, get an Uber, and get to my hotel. And it probably takes the same amount of time versus I got in my car and I drove. But I would do that because that's who I am. I'm a speedy traveler. Okay, like if you have an option to get somewhere quicker and more efficiently, I'm taking that option. Boom. That's who I am. I know some people like getting in the car and driving like, hey, let's go see the world's biggest thimble, and then we're going to go to the cut-off doll head museum. I'm not into that stuff. When I'm going somewhere, I want to get there as fast as I possibly can without having to do anything. And that's what I like about flying. But how do we survive flying? Because flying has really turned into a shit show. Okay? If you really think about it, it really has. Okay? Because I look at like those pictures from, flying like back in the day when it first started, and people were like dressed up. Men were in suits and ties. They're smoking cigarettes on the plane. They're getting full-on like 3-course meals with real silverware and real plates. Everyone is just like, it's almost like there's like a small cocktail party going on in the plane, And then you jump to like today, 2020, and literally I see a lot of people who just wear pajamas on the plane and wear neck pillows. Like, I kid you not, the last time I was in the airport, I saw this very obese person, and they were just wearing like a shitty T-shirt and gym shorts, and not even shoes, slippers. They were wearing slippers. I feel like when you've given up on life, you wear slippers outside of your house, okay? And a neck pillow around the neck. Like, she couldn't hold the neck pillow. She had it around her neck. Because I guess they were too lazy to put it in their bag or something. Or I guess, the walk across the terminal might have, made them faint, and they needed the neck pillow so their head was properly rested when they black out from burning so many calories. But that's what flying has like turned into, is it's just like this big mosh pit of people in their pajamas. It's funny, if you want to see like the craziness come out of people, go to an airport and just watch boarding calls, okay? Because people get so crazy when it comes to boarding a plane. It's almost like they tell all the people, they're like, hey, everyone, we hit a solid bar of gold on the plane, and whoever gets on the plane first and finds it wins $1 million. And that's how people act. They act crazy. They act like boarding a plane, they act like it's the apocalypse, and there's like zombies, like in World War Z, and they're like, we got to get on the plane. We got to get out of here. And everybody's like pushing each other out of the way. It's insane. I hate that because it's funny. Like when you board a plane, like Southwest Airlines has their thing where it's like you're in the A group and you're number 34 and they have you line up. That's great. But other ones, it's like they just have like random groups. You're on group 1, 2, or 3. And then people just kind of like start slowly standing up and slowly start migrating towards, boarding on the plane. And then they literally just start shoving each other out of the way. And I blame it on the overhead luggage compartments because there's not a lot of overhead, But here's the thing is the evolution of the overhead suitcase has grown significantly because it used to just be like, oh, I have this small backpack or I have a purse. But now I'll see people who think that they're like carry-on luggage is like a duffel bag. And it's funny because I look at like all these like carry-ons and I mean, they are packed. They look like they're about to just explode from being overstuffed. But people are so ignorant if you tell them that you have to check the bag. And I have seen people in airports have meltdowns because the airline's like, sir, like that's not going to fit on the overhead. It will not fit under your seat. You have to check it. We will check it for free. But still, they freak out about it. I don't know why. But the problem is then you have so many Karens that the airlines now just let you bring anything on as a carry-on. Also, you can even bring like small pets. I've seen cats, dogs. I saw a person who had a pig, a small little piglet. Was their therapy pig. I don't know. I think that's weird, but whatever. So really, in reality, if I was doing this podcast episode back in like the 1940s, 50s, I'd probably just be like, well, there's nothing wrong. Like flying is awesome. It's just one big, speakeasy party. But nowadays, people are just so ignorant and crazy on flying. For me personally, like I love to fly, but then I hate the process of flying. Like if someone came to me and was like, Nick, look, you don't have to board the plane, but we're going to strap a jet engine on your back, and you have an 80% chance of that engine blowing up and killing you mid-flight, but you will get to your destination about the same time, and you won't have to deal with anyone. I would take that option in a heartbeat. I'd be like, you know what? I will chance that 80% of me, blowing up in my Rocketeer rocket pack. Because dealing with people on a plane has just turned into like a shit show. It used to just be like a plane ride was like a really super long, awkward elevator ride. And everybody was just kind of like, it was really quiet, and everybody kind of just kept to themselves, and nobody kind of bothered anyone. But now, oh my God, the last time I was on a plane, it was a nightmare. First of all, it's called deodorant. Use it, okay? Because we're in a tight space. Make yourself smell fresh, but don't put too much on. I remember one time I sat next to a lady, and she had just doused herself in perfume. And it was a type of perfume, because usually like your nose gets used to the smell, and you're like, okay, I don't smell it anymore. But she had some weird kind of like futuristic mutated perfume. And I could just keep smelling it the whole time, and it made me completely nauseous, too. I was really hoping I was going to throw up because I would have just thrown up all over her because then that smell probably would have, been better. I'm not going to lie. And then the other thing, too, is, don't bring meals on the plane. Don't. Like, if you want to bring, like, a bag of chips or some pretzels and a bottle of water or so, whatever, that's fine. I see people now, they'll go to, like, McDonald's or Buffalo Wild Wings, and they'll bring it on the plane, and it just stinks up the whole plane. But they don't care. Like, the American flyer is probably the most ignorant person there is. Like, when I don't understand, like, when people fly, they act like they're the only person on the plane, and they can do whatever they want. They have no respect for anybody else. And I remember just, like, stinking. And it was awful smelling, too. It was awful smelling. Don't talk to people on the plane. Don't talk to strangers on the plane. I have this happen to me a lot, actually, when I fly. I fly by myself sometimes for work or for shows or whatever. And the last time I was flying first class. And usually the good thing about first class is like nobody talks to anybody because they all want to pretend like they're rich, snobby people, and it's awesome. But the last time I had it, man, this guy talked my ear off. And I'm not a talker on a plane. I'm not. And so, I board the plane, I sit down, and the guy I'm sitting next to in first class, he doesn't, this is a stereotype, he looks kind of hillbilly to me. So I'm like, well, maybe he won a contest or maybe he's in the military and somebody like gave up their seat for him. No, I think it was just he was traveling for work and they got him a first class ticket somehow. Super nice gentleman, okay? I will say that. So I sit down and he's just like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's good. Good, man. Good. So where are you going? And I'm like, why are you asking me where I'm going? This is a direct flight to Los Angeles. Like, you know where we're going, okay? So we don't need to do the formalities of like where you're going and where you're coming from because obviously we already know that. It's printed on the ticket that you're holding. And so, I just go with it. In reality, I'm too nice. I should have just been a dick and I should have just been like, I'm going to fucking LA. What are you, an idiot? Because I feel like if you're just mean right off the bat that maybe they'll just like shut up and leave you alone. But I'm too nice. I'm too nice. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, going to LA. And he's like, great. Yeah, I'm going to LA too for work. And then he just goes into this whole spiel about work and telling me about like what he does for his work. And I remember all of it. I don't know why, but I still remember it. And he's like, yeah, man, I work, I build warehouses in the Midwest. And, we're going to be building a warehouse, out in Western California, near the desert. And, these are the blueprints. And then he pulls out his phone. And he's like showing me like blueprints to like warehouses that he's like going to build and work on. And the whole time I'm thinking, I always do this thing because I'm too polite and I'll just like pretend like I'm interested, and I'll drop a question here. They'll be like, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, yeah. Oh, is that a roof? So they get roofs. So the warehouses get roofs. Oh, that's cool. That's real. And do they come with bathrooms? That's kind of neat. That's, because I'm too nice. Like I didn't have the heart to be like, dude, like, don't fucking bother me. I need to incorporate more of like the LA asshole where I'm like, whoa, bro, don't need the life story. But, I still have the touch of like Midwesterner in me. So I have to like, I play along with it. But it's just like, here's my thing is like, what does this guy think? Like, who does he think I am that he's like, well, let me tell you my life story and what I do as a career for what felt like probably an hour and a half. Okay. And he wouldn't take any hints. Because you know how it is on a plane. Like when someone's talking to you on a plane, like you try to give them like random physical body hints that you want to end the conversation, right? So I'll be like, oh, cool. And then I'll slightly like look forward, to like indicate with my head, I'm like, this conversation is over. Stop talking to me. The problem is you can't get up during the plane. You're literally strapped in for the ride. So I couldn't move seats. You can't do any of that. But with your body language, you look ahead. That didn't work. He keeps talking. And it's warehouses that hold lumber, if I remember. I don't know why I remember that. It's so dumb, but I remembered. And he's still going. And I'm at that point where I'm just like looking straight ahead into the seat in front of me because I'm like, dude, I hope this guy stops talking to me because I don't need to have like a full on conversation. I just want to drink my free Coca-Cola and watch a stupid movie. So he's still going. So, being the nice guy that I am, I still acknowledge him and I'm like, oh yeah, oh, that's great. And then I try and do the thing where I put in like an earbud to also indicate like I'm tuning you out now. Like you are being officially tuned out so I can partake in the Wi-Fi, in the media on the plane. So then, I think I'm like, well, maybe that'll stop him from talking to me. No, he leans in closer, starts talking a little bit louder. And that's when I knew I was like, this is a no-win scenario. And I had to sit there, I kid you not, everyone, for an hour and a half listening about the pros and cons of building warehouses around the country. I now have that useless knowledge in my brain because of this gentleman. So don't do that. Don't do that. Don't talk to people on the plane. Or like, don't do that thing. Like I see guys do this. Like they're really fucking creepy. Don't be a creepo who sits next to like a nice, cute woman and try and hit on her. Because then she's trapped. I see that all the time. Where guys like, yeah, where you going, man? I'm going to LA because I run a small company that makes baby wipes for men. So you want to like hang out when we get there? And then the girl's obviously like, no, because you're a fucking creep. But then they can't go anywhere. So don't do that. Okay? If anything, for ladies out there, just go out and get like a cheap $5 fake wedding ring. Wear that on the plane so those weird guys won't hit on you. It's so creepy because the guys know that, like, well, she can't go anywhere, so she has to talk to me because she's literally strapped there. Don't be a creep on the plane. But I guess, what happens if people stop flying because other people make it so miserable? And we'll talk about the other things that, like, people do that are miserable. But in reality, I think, I know on the show we usually, everything kind of leads to an apocalyptic event. I don't think so. I think if people stopped flying less, I think the prices of flights would probably go down. I think stress levels would go down. I think they would maybe loosen up security at the TSA. That would be kind of nice. They'd find a way to streamline flights so you didn't have to show up 3 days before to get on your flight. You might take a little bit longer to get somewhere via car or train. But, you might save yourself from having a heart attack so you don't sit next to a guy who's either trying to creepily hit on you or tell you about warehouses. So in this event, guys, I have to admit, I'm sorry to say this, less flying might be good for your health. I'm not going to lie. Because how do you survive flights? Because it's really, really difficult. And I see the one thing that people do when it comes to surviving flights is they'll take pills. Like they take sleeping pills. They're like, I gotta knock myself out. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie like Aliens, Ripley and all them. And that's how they do space travel is they just go into like a deep sleep for like 80 years before they get to their destination. Guys, I'm not going to lie. I think planes should really look into that technology. Should really look into it because then nobody has to talk to anybody. You just get on the plane, the capsule closes, you feel like the flight feels instantaneously, I can't say the word, because you're in a deep sleep. Granted, I know, a deep sleep, I don't know if that's going to be good for just an hour flight, but still, it saves you a lot of hassle dealing with other passengers because that's the biggest stressor on a plane is dealing with other passengers. So here's my idea. Here's how you survive a flight. Obviously, don't do the pills. Don't make yourself go to sleep because that's not good for your health, not good for your liver. Then you get addicted to sleeping pills and you start hallucinating. And then the next thing you know, you're going to want to try and like jump off the plane because you think like an evil pink monster is on the wing and you have to fly out and fight it. That's not going to be good. Don't do that. Don't do the pills. But, and this kind of goes more for the airlines, is the airlines really need to think about investing in that technology, like in the sci-fi movies, like the deep sleep technology. And here's how a flight should go, right? You should get up in the morning, you pack your luggage, right? And the airport people should pick you up. And when they pick you up, it's a truck. And they bring out the little sleeping tube in the truck. Okay, and you come outside, you come out curbside, you get in the little sleeping tube, they take your luggage, they put it in there, they check you in right on the curb in front of your home or apartment or whatever, put you in the sleeping tube, do a little sci-fi thing, hit the buttons, whatever, you go to sleep, they load you up on the truck, they go pick up other passengers. So then when you wake up, you're already at your destination because here's what will happen next. You get loaded into the truck. They drive to the airport. There's no need for security checks because you're going to be asleep the whole time. So how can you be threatening or be a terrorist if you're not even awake? Yeah, that's right. Nick Catelli just solved a whole plane terrorist thing. Okay. And, all they'll do is they'll just put you on a big old cargo plane. That's the other thing, too, is now planes are going to save a lot of money because they don't need all those luxuries. They don't need to afford Wi-Fi or pay for, like, movie subscriptions or have all of the food or the in-flight services. Now, in reality, all you need is just a bunch of people that are just going to, shove the sleeping tubes onto a huge cargo plane, right? Your typical plane only holds a couple of hundred people. Big old cargo plane, Now we're talking about maybe 300 to 3,000 people who are asleep. So now you don't have to deal with like assholes or Karens or anything because they're asleep. They're knocked out the whole time. So, get to the airport. There is no security check because you're already knocked out. You're a non-threat, and they're not going to wake you up until the flight is over. They shove you through the airport. They shove you onto the plane. It's super efficient. We don't have to wait for any other passengers that are running late. Everyone's there. They're knocked out. Nobody gets an attitude with the stewardess. Don't have to do any of the security stuff because everyone's already passed out in their sci-fi alien sleeping tube. Don't have to worry about assholes getting drunk or ignorant on the plane because they're asleep. It cures everything. And in reality, that's what people want. Just like what I said about that lady, and everybody just wears their pajamas to go, to the plane. That's what they want to do. They just want to sleep on the plane. Why not just make that happen? And then when the cargo plane lands, and then you unload all of the sleeping tubes, and then you load them up in a truck, or if you want to save money, you just wake them up right there in the airport, give them their luggage, and you're like, go on your way. We'll see you again. And I think that needs to be the future of flying. Because that's the problem. People are like, well, maybe we should make the planes faster and bigger. No. That's not the problem. We need to make the passengers less ignorant and assholey. That's why we need the sleeping tubes. Because that's the real problem with flights. It's not the pilots. It's not the plane. It's not the stewardess. It's not the airlines. It is the ignorance of the passengers. I said it. That's my opinion. But also, it's kind of a fact. The airline passenger has become very entitled and mean. So we just need to knock them out so that we don't have to deal with that. They do it for surgery. And why can't we do it for a plane? The technology is technically already there, I guess. Now that I think about it, you don't really need like a sleeping tube. You just need, I guess I don't know what the medical term is, but the guy that knocks or the girl that, puts the IV in you and it puts you to sleep. That's what the airlines need. Just go out and buy a whole bunch of that drug, knock people out, have them count to 10, boom, done. Now, I know what you're thinking because there's probably some people out there who enjoy flying. They like the movies. It's probably the only time they get away from their family. So they're like, I love this because I don't have to deal with anyone. So if we're not going to do the sleeping tube thing, then I guess we would just do what the hospitals do. And I would just give people the option of like an IV that just puts them to sleep. Like if they're getting like open heart surgery or, a wart removed or whatever. You could do like an anesthesiologist. That's the medical term. I forgot it for a second. That's the term. So that's what airlines need to invest in first is a whole bunch of anesthesiologists that also can act like stewardess. You get on the plane. They give you the option to like, sir, would you like to be awake for this flight or would you like to be asleep? I would like to be asleep. Boom. Put you to sleep. You'll wake up in a couple of hours when we get there. I would gladly do that. I would do that in a heartbeat. I'm not going to lie. I would do it. I'd be like, yes. I'd be like pumping into me. I don't even care if you knock me out for more than like a whole day. As long as I don't have to deal with the other passengers, I'm game. Even if he was like, Nick, you have a 50-50 chance of waking up from this. I'd be like, I don't care. If I don't have to deal with the guy trying to talk to me about warehouses next to me or smell the weird, smelly foods, I don't care. Knock me out. Okay? And the good thing about that with the anesthesiologist, it's not addictive. You can't get addicted to it. Like sleeping pills you get addicted to. And I think sleeping pills also, it gets to the point where you can't even fall asleep unless you have it. So there you go, people. I just literally figured out how to survive flying on a plane. And that is get an anesthesiologist to fly with you. I don't think the airlines are going to, invest in it right away. But if you have a friend who's an anesthesiologist or if you know one, buddy up to him. Take him on the flight with you, And then when you're on the plane, just have them knock you out right there. It's just a simple, I think just a little small needle that goes in the hand. Boom, done. In reality, Maybe people could start getting certified because, you could just go on YouTube. I guarantee I could go on YouTube right after this episode and find a video on how to be an anesthesiologist and then just go maybe to like Rite Aid and see if they just sell it through the pharmacy and then just become my own certified anesthesiologist. I don't know. That could be a good career, being an airline anesthesiologist. Something to think about. I don't know. I might have just came up with $1 billion idea for flying. Because wouldn't that be great? Like international flights, I took a flight to Europe. It's 22 hours. 22 hours. What are you going to do sitting down for 22 hours? It was a nightmare. I will never do it again. Even if I had some sort of uncurable disease that could only be cured in Europe, and they're like, it's a 22-hour flight. I'd be like, you know what? I had a good life. I don't want to sit on a plane for 22 hours. Because international flights, and this will be my last thing I talk about, because I'm getting the signal that we're pretty much up for time. I hate international flights. I love traveling international, but international flights are the worst. And I'll give you a story. One time I was flying back from France, okay? And we got on the flight, and we're going back to Chicago. And the guy sitting next to me, and luckily they had messed up. I was supposed to get an aisle seat, and they gave us like dead center seats in the center row of the plane. Because you know how it works. Like on a big international flight on the plane, there's like, 3 rows. There's like 1 row on the side, and there's like 3 seats. Other side's 3 seats. And in the middle is like a row of like 6 seats. So me and my wife, we're stuck in the middle, like dead center middle. And I'm a big guy, I'm 6'2", and they cram people in there. If you ever want to know what it's like to be an animal in a slaughterhouse, fly. I think that's why a lot of vegans fly, or a lot of people turn vegan, is they experience flying like cattle, and they're like, this is what it's like, huh? I'll never eat meat again. Boom. I'm not going to lie. After that flight, I was almost like, I will never eat a hamburger in my life, but they're delicious, so I digress. So I'm sitting in the middle row. And if you ever fly international, you have to stand up. You have to stand up, to get the blood flowing so your legs don't just give out on you. So I'm sitting next to this guy who I believe is, doesn't speak English, okay? And I was like, I did this thing where I was like, well, I'll be really courteous because I don't want to be that dick who constantly is like, excuse me, sir, could you get up so I can get up to go to the bathroom and stretch out my legs? I'll just wait till he gets up, and then I will get up. That was my etiquette. And again, it's because I'm too nice. I'm too nice. So I wait. And I kid you not, everyone, he never got up. And this was like another one of those like 20-hour flights. He never got up. I was like, is this man a robot? Does he not go pee and poo-poos? Because he ate all the food. He drank all the liquids. Like, where is he storing this stuff? Also, who can hold their bowel movements that long? He wouldn't get up. And he wasn't even watching movies or anything. He was just staring at the seat in front of him. I'm not going to lie, guys. I really thought for a split second, I was like, maybe this guy is a robot or something. So, I tried to hold it in as much as I could. And then finally I was like, sir, I have to go to the bathroom. And I remember the look of ignorance I got off this guy of like, oh my God, you're going to make me unbuckle my seatbelt and stand up so you can go to the restroom. And he didn't say anything, but it was like the look. And he was probably like, silly Americans and their small, stupid bladders. And I did that 1 or 2 times. And then eventually I got to the point where I was just like, well, you know what? Fuck you. You could have been really nice. And if you're not going to get up, I have to get up. But I kid you not. It's like the ignorance of it. Let me tell you something. Don't be that person on the plane. This is my last tidbit of the episode when you're flying. Don't be the dick. If someone asks you to get up because they need to use the restroom or they need to stretch their legs, just get up. It takes 5 seconds. Don't be a dick about it. Okay? Would you rather them, piss all over you? No. Be polite. Be polite. And that's my last tip of the day. If you're not going to do the anesthesiologists, the way we can survive flights is just be a decent, polite human being to one another. And it's that simple. It's that simple. Because if we're not, and if things keep building up on the plane and people get more ignorant and more self-entitled and get an attitude with each other, then what's going to happen is that a lot of people are just going to start physically fighting on planes, and then they're just going to stop flying altogether. Or, you know, what's going to happen is like the pilot's going to have to come out, and then the plane veers off course, and then obviously we know what happens then. I'm not going to say it. But, I've seen the videos online of people who just like have meltdowns on planes and have to be like handcuffed or pulled off the plane. And then what happens is the plane has to stop at a random destination, and it just ruins the flight for everyone. And it's as simple as don't be an asshole on a flight. If you're going to be an asshole on a flight, drive. Or if you're going to be an asshole on a flight, pay the money and take a private jet. Save everyone the hassle of having to deal with you. Because that's the thing on flights. One asshole ruins it for everyone. One asshole gets the plane grounded. One asshole stops the plane from even leaving the ground. One asshole causes a lot of trouble. Because, it's one of those things like you have to lock them up on the plane. Like in reality, I think there should be a law that Congress and whatever should pass that if you're a dick on a plane, instead of cuffing you, just open the door, give them a parachute, throw them out. Just throw them out. Just do it how like the city buses do. Like they're just like, get the fuck off the bus. When I was in Chicago, if you were on the L or the bus and you were being a dick, they just throw you off. And they should do that on planes. If you're a dick, open up the back hatch, shove a parachute in their lap, and be like, Godspeed, kick them out the door. And I mean literally kick them out the door. Because if you did that on a plane, everyone's going to applaud. Because if there's anything that unites people on a plane, it is an asshole getting what they deserve. Like if you ever been in a place and they, and they like, the cops come on and they handcuff them, drag them off the plane, everyone's clapping and cheering. You've just united the plane. Assholes can unite planes. Kind of a oxymoron of a situation, but it really is true if you really think about it, is assholes can unite planes. Take the asshole out. Maybe airlines should do that to boost morale. You could just hire an actor who gets on the plane and acts like an asshole before the flight takes off, and then security comes on and drags them out, and then everybody's clapping and cheering. You've just united the flight. And now the flight's going to be a very upbeat, positive thing because everyone on the flight will just be talking about the asshole that got pulled off. And that's how we can save flying is, fake assholes, anesthesiologists, sleeping tubes. I got lots of ideas here, people. I got lots of ideas. So if you're Delta Airlines or American Airlines or United, might be something to consider. I don't know. Just saying. Well, guys, that's my time for today. I feel like we got really passionate today. But it's good. It's good because I know we're getting into the holiday season. A lot of people, sadly, aren't going to be able to fly. And I'm sorry about that. You won't be able to get to see your family. I know my parents were actually going to fly in today for Thanksgiving this week, but sadly, we canceled the flight because of COVID. So hopefully the holiday season is not going to be a lonely one since your loved ones won't be able to really fly and see you. But remember, I'm always here for you. You can always listen to my show. And with that, if you ever have anything you want to talk about on my show, feel free to contact me via my website at www.catellicomedy.com. Guys, as always, I know there are a lot of amazing podcasts out there you could be listening to, so I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to mine. Stay safe out there. I know you can't fly because of COVID, but don't let the holiday season get you down because I'm here for you. We're going to get through this. COVID's going to be gone, and then months from now, we're going to be laughing about it, and it's going to be amazing, and life will be amazing. The economy is going to be amazing again, and flights, they're still going to be shitty unless they do what I say on this podcast episode. Then they might be amazing. So, guys, with that, Have a good month, good day, good week, good whatever. And I will talk to you guys later.